Hello folks, I'm Ronald Mehta and welcome back to Digit.com. We are your digital aid and we provide free courses on the subject of business and marketing. In this video, we are going to take a brief stab on the topic of brand management along with live examples and case studies. Let's start with the first one. Let's start with the introduction to branding. According to the American Marketing Association, a brand can be defined as a name, term, sign, symbol, or design, or a combination of them intended to identify the goods and services of one seller from those of competition. Whenever a marketer develops a new identity in the form of a name, a logo, a symbol for a new product or service, he or she has indirectly designed or created a brand. Marketers can push building a brand in the eyes of the buyers virtually anywhere the buyer has a choice. Why branding? Branding is all about creating differences between products. Branding is a process that includes creating a quirky name and image for a product in the consumer's mind, principally through advertising campaigns with a consistent theme. It is all around creating a point of difference among similar looking products. You will see how. It intends to establish differentiated presence in the market that pulls and retains loyal customers. Branding helps the marketers in educating consumers about who the product is by giving it a name and other brand elements to identify as well as what the product does and why consumers should consider buying it. The best example in this case is of Pepsi versus Coke. Similar looking products but different names, different brand elements. Moving on to what can be branded. What other things can be branded? It is possible to brand the following. First, product. Example, the iPhone, Tesla, Victoria's Secret are all respected brands in their respective product categories. Moving on to services. Gold's Gym into the health and fitness category, Singapore Airlines in the aviation sector, Ritz-Carlton in the hospitality segment, and quick service restaurant KFC. Firms can also be branded. For instance, Microsoft, Facebook, Google. Even a person can be branded. For instance, Kim, Donald Trump, Lionel Messi, George Clooney. Even a place can be branded, and we aspire to go to these places such as Germany, Dubai, Las Vegas, New York, etc. And finally, even sports and entertainment can be branded. For instance, NBA, Real Madrid team, the Indian Premier League known as IPL, and even a show such as Game of Thrones. Moving on to the importance of branding to consumers. First, shopping behavior. Branding aids in simplifying shopping experience for the consumers as the marketed product enables the buyers to instantly and efficiently pinpoint what they want. It significantly reduces the wastage of time and money on unknown products. Next, emotional attachments. The objective of branding is to build a brand worth that adds value to the features and functions of the product. This value comes from a brand personality and image to which the consumers feel emotionally attached. Example, Apple products and their ecosystem. Habitual buying. Decisions related to purchases made by consumers are mostly due to a habit. It often possesses a great difficulty for competitors to break well-established habits, even by providing heavy schemes, substantial discounts, offers, etc. In this case, Amazon is the best example because people are hooked on to their online shopping. Then comes easy decision making. With the experience and search of information, buyers can make decisions swiftly and easy for deciding about the purchase of the brand. For instance, everybody is hooked onto Uber to call for the cab service. Another importance of branding to consumers also includes reducing the risk in product decisions. Now, whenever we buy a product or service, we go through many risks or we come across many risks. These are, first, functional risk, when the product underperforms and does not meet up to the expectation. Next, physical risk, when the product possesses a threat to the bodily well-being of the users or others. Financial risk, when the product is not worth the amount spent. Social risk, when the product results in embarrassment. And finally, time risk, when the failure of the product results in an opportunity cost of finding another product that meets the needs. Thus, when you buy a branded product, somewhere in your subconscious mind, you overcome all this risk and depend on that brand. Now moving on to the importance of branding to firms. First, identification of the market. A brand name recognizes the market that serves in assigning the responsibilities in the distribution phase such as warehousing,
classifying, selling, and after-sales service. Example, Coca-Cola sells about 3,500 brands globally, and the brand name Coca-Cola itself helps them in their distribution channel across the world. Next, legal protection. A brand name recognizes the brand and its different features and aspects by offering legal protection for the branded products. It does so through trademarks, patents, and copyrights. Registered trademarks protect the brand name. Registered patents protect the manufacturing process of the firms, such as Coca-Cola has a patent for their Coke and similar products. And copyrights are unique designs protecting their packaging. A case study of Starbucks. Starbucks, the world's largest coffee franchise, accused Sardar Baksh, a Delhi-based coffee chain in 2018, which had 25 outlets for using a similar sounding name and logo, as you can witness in the picture. The next importance of branding to firms is unique association. Associations are the effect of different feelings and images the brand plants in the minds of the consumers. For example, Coca-Cola is one great example of a brand that connects emotionally with consumers thanks to the feeling of happiness it is associated with. Coca-Cola's Choose Happiness campaign showed how to use emotions to connect with public. Next, high market share. High positive customer perception about the brand leads to organic and elevated earnings, which result in higher market share for the organization. A happy customer recommends the same service which meet their needs to other contacts that help in getting more customers. The example here in this case of AirPods. AirPods with a 30% ballpark global market domination is way ahead of the competition, which comprises of wireless earbuds from brands such as Jabra, Samsung, and Bose. Next, acts as an entry barrier to other brands. A strong brand that meets customer needs efficiently creates a barrier to the entry of other brands into the market. This is due to the brand loyal customers that take a long time to switch to another brand, or they may stick to the similar brand. The examples in this case is Gillette in the razor category around the world and energy drink category Red Bull. Branding also builds financial value for the firm. Brands can be measured in financial terms and can be found on the asset side of the balance sheet. Strong and successful brands can be bought and sold by the organization. For example, the case study of Facebook's acquisition of WhatsApp. Facebook acquired WhatsApp for a whopping $19 billion in 2014. At the time, it was the largest acquisition of a venture-backed company in history. Sequoia Capital witnessed an approximate 5,000% return on its initial investment. Facebook paid around $4 billion in cash, $12 billion in Facebook shares, and an additional $3 billion in restricted stock units, yielded to WhatsApp founders Com and Acton. Moving on, branding also improves recognition. A logo is one of the significant components of the company's brand. A professional logo design is simple to remember and catchy enough to give the desired recognition to the company. The best example in this case is of Netflix, easily recognizable, and the World Wildlife Fund, WWF. The next importance is of branding creating trust. Reliability and trust are the two crucial elements built by professional appearance. Examples, JP Morgan Chase and Company in the financial industry and Apple in the electronics category. Moving on to the conclusion of branding, advantages of strong brands. Brands often use marketing as a tool to give them a definite shape amongst the users and gives them a competitive advantage. Let's see the advantage of branding to these firms. In case of Toyota, for an improved understanding of product performance. For Coca-Cola, it helps them in greater trade cooperation and support. For Lego, loyal customers. For Gillette, increased marketing communications effectiveness. For Red Bull, less vulnerable to competitive marketing actions. For Disney, branding helps them in possible licensing opportunities. Samsung, less vulnerability to marketing crisis, as happened with one of their Note phones. Nivea, it helps them in additional brand extension opportunities. Apple, larger margins. Marriott, improved employee retention. For Tesla, it is more inelastic consumer response to price increases as consumers latch on to their brand. And for Amazon, it is about higher financial market returns. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on branding. These are the list of sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on branding decisions. Let's start with the introduction. A firm must pick a brand name to use, presuming that it decides to brand its products or services. 3 general strategies that are popular while branding a product are individual brands,
umbrella brand name, and sub-brand. Let's look at each one of them briefly, starting with individual brands. A marketing strategy under which every product sold by a company has its own unique brand name is called individual branding. This policy helps in setting up a distinctive image and identity. It also helps in making a brand establish a well-defined and recognizable position in relation to its adversary brands. This phenomena is called as positioning. Moving further, companies frequently use different brand names for separate quality lines within the same class of products. Having different brand names in a firm's family has a huge benefit. If any product fails or seems to be of inferior quality, the company remains untarnished as it does not tie its reputation to it. Some of the examples of individual brands are: Nestle has individual brands like Polo, Nescafe, Maggi, and KitKat. The Ferrero group has known brands like Nutella, Ferrero, Kinder Joy, and KitKat under them. And Mars family has famous names like Bounty, Double Mint, Galaxy, M&M's, Mars, Milky Way, Orbit, Pedigree, Skittles, and Snickers. Now moving on to the umbrella brand name. The concept of umbrella branding represents a marketing practice which necessitates selling several related products under the name of a single brand. Umbrella branding or umbrella brand is also known as family branding. It involves creating good brand value for a single brand. As there is no need to research a name, development costs are considerably lower with umbrella names. Moving further, it also avoids spending heavily on advertising to create brand recognition. The goodwill of manufacturer's name can help in the strong sales of the new product. Corporates have an image of expertise, innovativeness, and trustworthiness. An association with this corporate image have been proven to influence the evaluations of customers directly. Some of the examples of umbrella branding include: first, Virgin Group, which has various businesses under its umbrella. Example: Virgin Media, Virgin Trains, Virgin Active, Virgin Money, Virgin Atlantic, and Virgin Holidays. Another example is of Honda passenger vehicles. Honda family has brands like Honda Accord, Honda Civic, Honda CR-V, Honda City, and Honda Jazz under the same umbrella. And finally, moving on to sub-brands. A brand within a brand is called a sub-brand. Under tutelage of a leading brand, a sub-brand can use a different name for a product or service. It can also be further developed into its own well-recognized brand name. The sub-brand fuses two or more of the corporate brand, family brand, or individual product brand names. The company or the corporate name legitimizes the new product. At the same time, it's the own individual name that individualizes the new product. Example: Dairy Milk, Cadbury Bournvita, Cadbury 5-Star, Cadbury Gems are all sub-brands of Cadbury. Next, Apple has various well-known sub-brands like the MacBook, iPhone, AirPods, Apple Watch, and iMac. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on branding decisions. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on umbrella brand. Now let's start with the definition of an umbrella brand. The system of marketing and selling various linked products under one single brand name is called umbrella branding. Family branding, another name for umbrella branding, builds up the brand equity of one sole brand. It groups various related products under one sole brand name to give consistency to the product line. Hence, umbrella branding magnifies the marketability of the product line and makes it easily distinguishable. What is umbrella branding? Marketers may tend to find umbrella branding a bit difficult since every brand needs to be expertly coordinated. But the proper implementation of umbrella branding can lead to huge benefits. Individual brands slowly evolved into umbrella brands. Umbrella's branding's impact is influenced by the following factors: the level of commonness that exists under the corporate umbrella, and a company's brand equity, that is the brand's recognition in the market. Moving on to umbrella brand advantages. First, one product's success benefits all other products. One product's accomplishments will benefit all other products under the umbrella brand since they are all interlinked. Next, preceding reputation. Umbrella brands are already recognized in the market and their quality can already be vouched for and is known by consumers. Next, easy launches. New launches can be easier to execute under umbrella brands and are guaranteed to obtain the preceding marketing campaign's benefits. Next, cost-effective entry. It can be cost-effective to enter products in the market under umbrella brands. And finally, family branding.
Instead of using up their energy and resources on campaigns for various individual products, companies can focus on marketing one brand that is known as the family brand or the umbrella brand. Next, umbrella brand disadvantages. First, quality varies. Irrespective of the scale of the company, maintaining quality consistency of every product is impossible. Hence, the quality of products fluctuates. Next, some products get neglected. While focusing on a particular product, other products may tend to be neglected by the companies. Next, bad reputation of one product affects another products. An inferior reputation of any one product can be a disadvantage for the umbrella brand since it affects the other products under the brand. This decreases the sale of products under the brand. Now moving on to umbrella brand examples. First, the corporate brand in this case is Procter & Gamble, and Procter & Gamble has several umbrella brands under it. An indicative list includes first, Pantene, which is a brand of hair care products including shampoo, dry shampoos, conditioners, moistures, hairstyling products and others. Next, Oral-B, brand of oral hygiene products such as toothbrushes, toothpaste, dental floss and mouthwashes. Next, Gillette, brand of men's safety razors and other personal care products such as shaving gels, foams, skincare, deodorants and shower gels. And finally, Vicks, brand of over-the-counter medication including medication for cold and flu, cold relief, cough relief, sinus relief and occasional sleeplessness. P&G has created the individual brands for different product lines and then implement umbrella branding with those brands in order to control profitable market sections. The next example of Unilever, which is a corporate brand, and Unilever, just like P&G, has many umbrella brands under it with an indicative list, one being Axe, which is a brand of male grooming products such as deodorants, shower gels, body wash, shampoos, conditioners and hairstylers. Next, Dove, brand of personal care products for male and female such as antiperspirants as in deodorants, body washes, lotions, facial and hair care products. And the other blockbuster umbrella brand, Lux, which is a brand manufacturing a range of personal hygiene products including shower gels, shampoos, conditioners, beauty soaps, perfumes and bath additives. Moving on to our next example of Volkswagen. Volkswagen is a corporate brand and some umbrella brands owned by Volkswagen include Audi, Skoda, Volkswagen, Porsche, Lamborghini and Ducati. Again, an indicative list. And the final example of Mondelez International, which is a corporate brand, and some umbrella brands owned by Mondelez include Cadbury, which is an umbrella brand with many sub-products and sub-brands under it, one of them being dairy milk. The other umbrella brand Oreo. Next is Tang and the various products under it. And finally, the chocolate brand Toblerone. This is again an indicative list for Mondelez as well. So that's it folks. This brings an end to the topic on umbrella brand. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video.
In this video, we are going to cover the topic on brand extension. Let's start with the introduction to brand extension. When a firm uses an established brand name to introduce a new product, it is known as brand extension. When a new brand is linked with an existing brand, the brand extension is termed as sub-brand. The existing brand from which the sub-brand originates is called as parent brand. Example, McCafe is McDonald's brand extension. Dove has several extensions in the line of soap, shampoo, body lotion, hair oil and deodorants. Similarly, Coke's extensions are Diet Coke, Coke Zero and Coke Vanilla. Likewise, Pepsi's extension include Diet Pepsi and Pepsi Atom. Brand extension falls into two categories, line extension and category extension. Let's look at line extension. Marketeers utilize the parent brand to launch a new product that targets a new segment but in the existing product category that the parent brand currently serves. Example, the Armani brand has been extended from the high-end Giorgio Armani and Giorgio Armani Privé to mid-range products with Emporio Armani to affordable luxury products with Armani Jeans and Armani Exchange. Category extension. Marketeers make use of the parent brand to help enter a completely different product category from the one it currently serves. Example, Apple Watch. Apple as a brand entered into the watch commodity category by combining fitness tracking and health-oriented capabilities along with iOS and other Apple products and services. Now let's look at the strategies for brand extension. The first, introducing the same brand in a different style. Example, Cadbury Dairy Milk's extension to Cadbury Dairy Milk Oreo and Cadbury Caramilk. Second, introducing new products that include the brand's uniqueness in the form of taste, ingredient or component. Example, Red Bull's extension Red Bull Sugar Free. Third, introducing a partner product for the brand. Example, Apple iPhone and its accessory product AirPods. Fourth, introducing products that are connected to the customer's franchise of the brand. Example, Visa launching traveler checks for its special credit card customers. And finally, introducing products that profit from the existing uniqueness or influence of the brand. Example, Durex, while providing a variety of condom, also extends its product line in offering lubricant gels and vibrating ring, which run parallel and resonate with the brand's tagline, Love Sex. Now let's deep dive into the advantages of brand extension. First, let's look at the advantage to the extended brand. The first advantage to the extended brand is it improves the brand image. Consumers start having certain expectations from the parent brand over some time. Similarly, with brand extension, consumers start expecting the product to be at par in performance with the parent brand they trust. They keep expectation based on what they already know about the parent brand. Example, the high expectation for every new Apple product. Second, it decreases the risk perceived by the customers. The most critical factor for the initial trial of any new product is the extent to which it gets connected and relevant to the known parent brand. Example, customers will try any brand extension done under brands like Mondelez, Google, Apple, Samsung at their initial stage. After the initial acceptance, the success depends on the characteristics of the product and whether it satisfies consumer needs efficiently or not. Third, it increases the possibility of expanding distribution. When new products are introduced and extension to a particular brand, consumer demands for the same are observed to increase. Thus, retailers are easily convinced to stock up products from fast-moving brands such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Mondelez, Johnson & Johnson, and Nestle. Fourth, it increases the efficiency of promotional investments. When the new products are introduced as an extension to a particular brand, the process of creating awareness of the brand gets completely eliminated. Only the new product needs to be marketed, which reduces the company's effort, making it easier. Example, new brands from the house of Cadbury get instant recognition and acceptance since consumers readily try the products. Example, Cadbury's introduction of Dairy Milk Oreo Silk. And the final advantage to the extended brand is the packaging advantage. An identical packaging and labeling design for brand extension helps in cutting down production cost and can individually act as a promotional strategy. Example, Cadbury is quickly identified among other brands due to its purple color packaging. Now, let's look at the advantages of brand extension to the parent brand. The first advantage to the parent brand is that it enhances the parent brand image. Let's see how. The image of the parent brand can be enhanced due to the brand extension by strengthening the existing brand association. Example, Nike, Adidas, and Reebok have extended from providing running shoes to apparels and fitness equipment, which strengthen its association to top performance and sports. The second advantage, it helps increase market coverage. Brand extension profits the parent brand by proposing new products whose absence could have restricted consumers from trying the brand, thus increasing market coverage. Example, Nike has launched a hijab targeting Muslim female athletes. The hijab has been designed keeping in mind the traditional Islamic practice of covering the head without compromising on the performance, thus encouraging a new market of Muslim women to buy Nike sportswear. And finally, the advantage to the parent brand is revitalizing the brand. Brand extensions are also done to put back life into brands that come to a standstill and increase its interest and liking in the minds of the consumers. Example, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk's success enhanced the image and sparked excitement for the chocolate brand once again. Now let's look at the disadvantages of brand extension. First, brand extensions can confuse or discourage customers. A different variation of line extension may confuse the consumers about which version of the product is the right fit for them. Example, uncertainty about the difference between Diet Coke and Coke Zero. Next, brand extension can also face retailer resistance. It becomes improbable for a supermarket to provide all different variants of products available across various brands in one product category. Furthermore, retailers frequently feel that various products are just a reflection of pre-existing brands and don't feel the need to be stocked. Example, Head and Shoulder shampoo. It has more than 30 types of shampoos for different hair types: dry hair, oily hair, frizz-prone hair, damaged hair, etc. Next, the possibility of failing and hurting the parent brand image. A bad product extension is not only likely to fail but also harm the image of the parent brand in the process. Example, Pond's toothpaste. Pond's was always highlighted as a woman's beauty care product. When they launched their brand extension, Pond's toothpaste, it not only failed but had a significant negative impact on the image of Pond's. Arm & Hammer. It successfully extended its brand from being an odor-neutralizing baking soda to laundry detergent, carpet deodorizer, and even cat litter. But one product extension line that wasn't the best fit for the brand is the underarm deodorant spray. And finally, brand extension could succeed but kill the sales of the parent brand. Seldom the sales of the brand extension could prove to be higher than the parent brand. This hike in business may be the result of customers shifting from buying the extension other than the existing brand. Example, with the introduction of Diet Coke having the advantage of good taste and low calories, it impacted the sales of regular Coke. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on brand extension. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on brand hierarchy. Let's start with the introduction. Brand hierarchy, quite as the name suggests, is a hierarchical structure. A brand hierarchy is a well-organized branching structure of a brand's distinguishing elements for its sub-products. It is also known as brand architecture and isn't always easy or an apparent strategic factor in the business organization for a lot of company owners, senior managers, and entrepreneurs. When companies begin to expand their offerings with new products and different positioning schemes, they draw a brand hierarchy to aid with the classification of their products and services. There are different ways to define brand elements and levels of the brand hierarchy. It comprises of multiple levels. These levels begin from the corporate brand to the family brand to the individual brand and lastly to the modifier and the descriptor of the brand. Here is the example of Mondelez brand hierarchy. The corporate brand is Mondelez International. One of the family brands is Cadbury. Under Cadbury, one of the individual brands is Cadbury Dairy Milk. And under Cadbury Dairy Milk, there is a modifier model which is known as Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk, which is a premium chocolate launched as a sub-brand of Cadbury Dairy Milk in 2010. That's how our hierarchy flows. Moving on, let's look at the examples of three corporate brands, General Motors, Volkswagen, and Daimler. Starting with General Motors, which is the corporate brand. One of the family brands is Chevrolet. Under that, one of the individual brands is Cruise. The modifier in this case is the automatic version. And the product description here is a powerful sedan with an almost 2-liter engine. Next is Volkswagen. One of the family brands under them is Audi. Individual brand A6. And the modifier for A6 would be an A6 Quattro. Quattro is a sub-brand used by Audi to indicate that all-wheel drive technologies. Moving on to the last corporate brand here, Daimler. Family brand Mercedes-Benz. Individual brand C-Class. Modifier the C-Class AMG. AMG is a high-performance subsidiary of Mercedes-Benz AG. Now let's look at the levels under hierarchy briefly, starting with the first one, corporate or company brand level. The most elevated level of the hierarchy always consists of one brand, which is the corporate or company brand. The company or corporate brand almost always mentions its name somewhere on the product or package for legal reasons. However, the name of a company subsidiary may surface instead of the corporate name. The example here is Audi is commonly referred to as a part of the German automobile group Volkswagen. Here, Volkswagen is the corporate brand and Audi is one of the family brands. Moving on to the family brand level. A level lower to corporate or company brand comes family brand. It is also called a range brand or an umbrella brand. It is applied in multiple product categories but is not necessarily the name of the company or corporation. It is known as a family brand because it might have a range of products under it. For instance, as we stated earlier, Volkswagen is a corporate brand. Under it, there are many family brands such as Volkswagen, Skoda, and Audi. Another quick fact, some renowned family brands for companies that generate more than $1 billion in sales. For instance, Mondelez is a corporate brand, but under it, the family brand Cadbury generates more than $1 billion. Likewise, P&G is also a corporate brand, and under that, Gillette is one of its leading family brands with sales of more than $1 billion per year. Now moving on. Many times, companies might not have a corporate brand over them. In such a scenario, the corporate brand level and the family brand level fall as one. A very prominent example of this is Apple. It is a corporate and the family brand for itself since the start, and it has no corporate brand above it. For instance, as you can see here, corporate and the family brand is Apple, but the individual brands differ. So Apple has many individual brands. In this case, as given on the screen, iPhone, iPad, and MacBook, which has several modifiers under there. For iPhone, it is the iPhone 11 Pro. For the iPad, it is the iPad Pro, and MacBook, it is a MacBook Pro. Followed by the product descriptions, in this case, smartphone, tablet, and laptop.
Now moving on to the individual brand. Individual brands are limited to one product category, although various product types may differ based on the model, size of the package, flavor, etc. The company or corporate brand almost always mentions its name somewhere on the product or package for legal reasons. However, the name of the company's subsidiary may surface instead of the corporate name. The example in this case is Audi. The Audi family brand has individual brands like the A4, the A6, Q3, Q5, etc. The foremost advantage of devising individual brand is that one can customize the brand and all its supporting advertising activities to meet the needs of a specific customer group. Like in case of Audi, the A series is limited to sedans, while the Q series is limited to SUVs. Besides, if the brand fails, its risk towards other brands and company itself is minimal. Now moving on to modifier. A modifier is a method to allocate a particular item or model type or a specific version or configuration of the product. For example, all Audi individual brands come along with the option of Quattro, which is a modifier. And finally, moving on to product descriptor. The product descriptor is the smallest and lower level of the brand hierarchy. It helps the customer in identifying the different products under the individual brand. So if we take the example of Quattro, Audi Quattro is a sub-brand used by Audi to indicate the all-wheel drive technologies. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on brand hierarchy. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on brand portfolio. Let's start with the introduction. Sometimes a number of brands or brand lines of a particular firm function under one umbrella. This is called brand portfolio. This helps to serve different needs of every market segments. In short, it comprises of all the brands that the firm offers for sale to cater to the needs of different people. Now let's look at the strategies that come under brand portfolio. First, the flanker approach. A few brands act as a protective flanker or fighter brands. The objective of these brands is to fight the brands of the competitors. This is done to retain the desired position of the more important and more profitable flagship brands. In order to compete with store brands and private labels, a lot of firms are introducing discount brands as flankers. It also helps in protecting their high-priced brands. For example, Gillette's Mark III. Gillette markets both the 3-blade razor known as Mark III as well as the 5-blade razor Gillette Fusion 5. In the above case, Mark III acts as a flanker. On the other hand, Fusion 5 is a flagship main product which is advanced and more expensive. So Mark III is the fighter brand in this case, also known as flanker. Moving on to the other strategy of cash cow. Despite static sales, few brands are kept around as they continue to hold on to an adequate number of customers. They achieve a profit with barely any marketing support. Marketeers capitalize on their existing brands' equity by successfully milking these cash cows. For example, Nike's footwear segment. As you can see, Nike's footwear segment accounts to a major portion of the revenues for the company, which was roughly $23 billion. Moving on to the other example under cash cow, Amazon's web services. An emerging component of Amazon.com is Amazon Web Services, the cloud platform they offer. It is the most important part of their business portfolio. Amazon Web Services was launched in 2006, which is a suite of storage, database and other services. It also has services that can let anyone build an internet application without buying physical hardware. 13.5% of Amazon's total revenue came from a record $10 billion revenue bought by Amazon Web Services in the first quarter of 2020. The graph on the left basically is a comparison between the total revenues between 2018 and 2019. As you can see, in 2018, the revenue from Amazon Web Services was $25.6 billion, which grew to $35 billion in 2019. Moving further, Amazon Web Services has grown steadily in the 30% range in the past few quarters. Therefore, it has become a frontrunner to other cloud computing platforms like the Microsoft Azure, its competitor. Moving on to the third strategy of low-end or entry-level products. Brand extensions or variants in the particular product category are introduced by a lot of brands. These may vary in value as well as quality. The aim of low-price brands in the brand portfolio is often to entice customers to its franchise, as in getting new customers. Companies feature traffic builders so that they can trade up customers to a higher priced brand. Let's look at some examples. The first being Mercedes A-Class and B-Class. To bring new customers into the brand franchise, Mercedes has launched the A-Class and B-Class, which is cheaper compared to the C-Class and above models. Thus, customers upgrade to the C-Class and E-Class once they've experienced luxury in these entry-level models. Similarly, For Audi, it is the A3. Audi's new generation A3 sedan is the smallest sedan model. It is sleek on the outside as well as sharp and sporty inside. Even though it has an all-new design, it maintains its distinguishable silhouette. The styling and technology offered in the A3 are new. Moving on to the other example under the low-entry model, iPhone SE. In order to capture new markets, Apple launched iPhone SE. The new iPhone SE, priced at $399, is the lowest priced smartphone since 2018 the company has to offer. This happened when they discontinued the previous low-end model with the same name. It is $50 cheaper than the iPhone 8 that was least expensive previously. The price shows that the company efforts to reach new customers in evolving countries like India. Moving on to the last strategy under brand portfolio of high-end prestige brands. Products that create a sense of prestige in the minds of customers are known as high-end prestige brand in the brand portfolio model. These products are offered at a higher price. Due to the premium brands, other brands in the portfolio get the recognition as well. The quality creates a halo effect on each product. Example, Cadbury Dairy Milk Silk. Cadbury launched Dairy Milk Silk as a sub-brand of Cadbury Dairy Milk offering premium chocolate. The other example is of Adidas Originals. Adidas launched a subdivision Adidas Originals. The German multinational corporation Adidas launched Adidas Originals as a line of casual and sportswear. A heritage line specializing in athletic shoes, t-shirts, jackets, bags and sunglasses and other accessories are a part of it. Adidas Originals collaborate with fashion designers, celebrity and cultural figures often to launch their signature lines. So that's it folks, this brings an end to the topic on brand portfolio. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on co-branding. Let's start with the introduction to co-branding. When two or more existing brands come together to form a joint product or are marketed jointly in any fashion, it is called co-branding. Co-branding relies on leveraging secondary brand association to build their equity in the market. From a consumer's point of view, co-branding means getting the benefits of two or more brands at the price of one. It may be also called as brand bundling, brand alliances, dual branding or brand partnership. Example, Nike and Apple. Nike is strongly associated with athletics and Apple has outstanding credibility in making high-quality electronics. The co-branding partnership started as Nike plus iPod, which has evolved into Nike Plus, which syncs up the built-in tracking device in athletic clothing and gear with Apple iPhone apps to help track and record workout data. Now let's see how does co-branding work. The two or more brands must have sufficient brand awareness and a positive brand image. Also, ensuring that the two involved brands are a sensible fit and complementing each other. The unique offering should ensure maximizing the overall advantages while minimizing the disadvantages. Example, Uber and Spotify. Popular music streaming app Spotify partnered up with ride-hailing app Uber to create a soundtrack for your device. During the wait for their Uber ride, passengers are prompted to use Spotify and get to be in charge of the playlist connected to the vehicle. Thus, passengers are encouraged to pick Uber and Spotify over their competitors, knowing that they can enjoy their next ride listening to their favorite tunes. Benefits of co-branding. The brand positioning is heavily influenced by taking advantage of multiple existing brands. Co-branding can stimulate more significant sales from the current market and open opportunities for new consumers and channels. The risk gets shared among various brands. Next, it also serves as an essential medium to learn more about consumers and how other companies approach them. And finally, it reduces the marketing expense as it combines two well-known images and elevates adoption. Now let's look at the drawbacks of co-branding. One of the possible risks is the lack of control in getting aligned with other brands in the consumer's mind. Consumer expectations due to brand affiliation are likely to be on the higher side. Therefore, unsatisfactory performance could have negative consequences for both the brands. Next, if a brand engages in a series of co-branding arrangements, then the overuse of its name could make the brand irrelevant and vague. In case of any unfortunate incident where one brand falters, both the brands are affected by it. And finally, when the co-branding exercise ends, the value of the respective individual brands may be affected because of the preference for bundled products or services over individual offerings. Now let's look at types of co-branding. There are two types: ingredient co-branding and composite co-branding. Ingredient co-branding. It indicates using a renowned brand as an element in the production of another famous brand. This deals with creating brand value for materials and parts that are to be included in making of other products. The ingredient brand is a subordinate to the first brand. Example could be audio systems used in famous automobiles. Next up is composite branding. It refers to the use of two distinguished brand names to collectively offer a different product or service that could not be provided individually. Now let's look at a general example here of Taco Bell and Doritos. Taco Bell partnered with Doritos to create Doritos Locos Tacos. Taco Bell sold more than 1 billion units of its product in the first year in 2012. They needed to employ 15,000 workers in its stores to keep up with the increased demand. The next example is of GoPro and Red Bull. GoPro and Red Bull have successfully established themselves as lifestyle brands, a lifestyle that's action-packed, adventurous, fearless, and usually surrounding action sports. Now, how does this work? GoPro provides sports people and adventurers from across the globe with the devices and funding to capture events such as races, stunts, and action sport events on camera. Concurrently, Red Bull uses its knowledge and reputation to provide sponsorship to these events. As stated by Sean Eggert, Red Bull's Director of Sports Marketing, GoPro camera technology allows us to complement the programming by delivering new athlete perspectives that have never been seen before. One of the events, Stratos, has been a significant collaboration stunt between them where Felix Baumgartner jumped from a space pod more than 24 miles above Earth's surface with a GoPro camera strapped to him. Another example is of Airbnb and Flipboard. Flipboard collects topical content and news that users spread across social media and allows one to flip through the materials just like a social media feed. Airbnb partnered up with Flipboard to serve Airbnb users with lifestyle content crafted to suit people with similar interests, which they could share and forward with people with same taste as a reader. Overall, 39 million targeted impressions were garnered and generated about 4.2 million page flips from 440,000 viewers on Flipboard. It boosted the number of Airbnb profile followers on Flipboard from 0 to all the way to 29,000 and drove 38,000 visits to Airbnb's website. Finally, to conclude, co-branding could prove to be an excellent method for the growth of any company, as there will not be any immediate need for making massive investments in resources or marketing campaigns. And finally, it builds a favorable environment where each business gets the benefit from the brand reputation, image, and customer base of the other. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on co-branding. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on brand repositioning. Let's start with the introduction. The act of altering the way the clients perceive your company is called brand repositioning. There are various ways to achieve brand repositioning. It could be done by changing the personality, changing the message, or even by changing the product. The idea of brand repositioning is to maintain the identity of the brand that has been established with a few changes, modification, and tweaks. Moving further, let's look at the advantages of brand repositioning. First, repositioning works in an extremely effective and sophisticated manner. It picks up the best things about your brand. Next, it throws away the things that are not working for the brand. Further, the gaps created by this cleansing process are then filled with updated perspectives and messaging. It gives a new brand promise and at times a new personality. If developed effectively and executed successfully, it results in revived customer perception. And finally, this helps the brand gain a distinction from the rest and compete more effectively. Moving on, now let's look at the reasons for repositioning a brand. First, target a distinct audience. The initial target audience may no longer be feasible. Next, products and services offered have evolved. It is possible that new products and services may have been added or the products and services being offered may have changed. A new brand promise needs to reflect this. Third, competitors are offering better value. Competition keeps increasing with each passing year. It may so happen that competitors start offering better value propositions. In such a case, to keep up and not lose customers, a brand may need to change their value propositions. Next, sales are trending downwards. The decline in sales would be the most apparent reason to entertain the idea of repositioning the brand. In this situation, the change would be necessary to stop the steady downwards falls of sales. Next, your strategic direction is changing. Brand repositioning comes in handy when a notable change in the current strategic direction is needed. For instance, it would help if you're a product-based brand looking to revamp into a service-based brand. And finally, failed extensions are tainting your brand. It could sometimes prove to be fatal if a brand overextends. This failure to extend can have a significant damaging impact on the central brand. This could potentially impact everything negatively, right from the customer's perception of the brand to the internal morale of the company. Looking at an example of Marlboro, in the 1950s, Marlboro cigarettes were used by women more. To change the situation and the perception, Marlboro cigarettes repositioned the brand and inaugurated the Marlboro Man. These marketing attempts were made to lure in the male audience. Moving on to some examples now, starting with McDonald's. The image of McDonald's has been dragged down over the years. It has been considered a brand that is unhealthy and lowbrow. In an attempt to shed this harmful image, McDonald's tried to rebrand itself as a more healthy, conscious restaurant chain. They added a lot of salads and various other healthier meal options. They even offered low-price menu items. Under its two slogans, first, I'm loving it, having an original tune by Justin Timberlake, and what we are made of, McDonald's shows families and couples having a good time with their meals at the restaurants. They also tried to attract the coffee-loving crowd with its more expensive and fancier premium coffee. Moving on to the next example of Old Spice. Introduced in 1938, the brand Old Spice has been associated with elderly gentlemen. In 2008, Old Spice and Whedon plus Kennedy started a new campaign, the Old Spice Swagger. This campaign managed to entirely change the face of the brand. This resulted in a change in their customer demographic too. Their advertising campaign included TV spots, print ads, and an interactive website named swaggerizeme.com. This new campaign yielded 4 times the sale of the product. Moving further, Whedon plus Kennedy also helped them restore their line of fragrant body washes. They released the Smell Like a Man campaign in 2010. The campaign featuring NFL player Isaiah Mustafa strengthened Old Spice status as a modern brand. One ad in specifically containing the memorable lines, "Look at your man, now back at me, I'm on a horse," got millions of views online. The sales of Old Spice body wash has increased by 27% within the first 6 months of the campaign's launch. Old Spice thus became the category leader. Moving on to the next example of Starbucks. Starbucks was launched by Jerry Baldwin, Zave Segal, and Gordon Boker in the year 1971. In the early 80s, it became profitable for the first time in Seattle. Starbucks had almost 6,000 stores by 2002 worldwide. In 15 years, it showed a staggering growth of 300%. But the chain had to bear a loss of 28% in profits over the next 2 years in the financial crisis of 2008, and Starbucks had to close about 1,000 stores. When Americans started seeing coffee as a commodity in 2008 and were switching to cheaper alternatives like McDonald's, Starbucks needed a new game plan. That's when Starbucks teamed up with an ad agency named BBDO to convince people that the brand was worth the extra cost. It launched a multi-million-dollar campaign, Coffee Values and Values. It was the largest marketing campaign in the history of Starbucks. This once again made Starbucks coffee the headliner of the show. Its ad copy included lines like, "If your coffee isn't perfect, we'll make it over. If it's still not perfect, you must not be in Starbucks," as well as, "Beware of a cheaper cup of coffee, it comes with a price." This huge campaign concentrated on the integrity of its central product, the coffee. The way Starbucks was able to resuscitate its brand and its business, the company thus announced more than $16 billion in yearly revenue in 2014. Moving on to the last example of Apple. Apple Computers was originally a computer company in the 80s and 90s. Apple reinvented itself into a lifestyle brand with the introduction of the iPod. Apple advertisements portrayed people from all stages of life using Apple products. Finally, the brand ditched computers from its name and successfully repositioned itself in the perception of consumers. Another example of Apple is Apple's Get a Mac campaign. The goal of the commercial was to correlate PC, namely Windows users, with the unpopular nerd cliché, at the same time depicting Apple Mac users as youthful, imaginative, impressive, and lucky. Apple saw lower sales in 2005-2006, but just after the campaign, Apple saw an addition of 200,000 Macs sold. Apple announced by the end of July 2006 it had sold 1.3 million Macs. Apple had an all-round boost in sales of 39% for the fiscal year ending of September 2006. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on brand repositioning. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. We are going to cover the topic on ingredient branding. Let's start with the introduction. Consumers trust many established brands, and thus the point of differentiation here becomes essential. At such times, ingredient branding proves to be of help. Ingredient branding is similar to co-branding, where it creates brand value for materials and parts that are included in the making of other products. For the original products, whose brand value is not that powerful, ingredient brands can provide a point of differentiation and necessary flags of quality. For example, luxury cars typically have high-end audio systems from Bose and Harman Kardon. Moving on, the advantages of ingredient branding. Creating awareness for their product to encourage the consumers to not buy if it does not contain the ingredient is ensured in ingredient branding. Brand ingredients are often a signal of quality according to consumers. Buyers do not necessarily have to know precisely how the ingredient works, but it just adds value. Ingredient brands try to create awareness and preference for their product to prevent consumers from buying the host product which does not contain it. Example, Netflix. Netflix started developing its own original content to decrease its long-term cost. Series like Money Heist, Stranger Things, Dark, Narcos, etc. are a few examples. Moving on, requirements for a successful ingredient branding. First, consumers must believe ingredients make a huge difference to the performance and success rate of the end product. Second, there should be a clear indication with the help of a unique symbol or logo that signals the host product contains that ingredient. Typically, in a Range Rover, you get to see Bose speakers. So the logo of Bose speaker inside a Range Rover car is a signal of quality of ingredient branding. Third, the unique symbol or logo acts like a seal which is versatile and straightforward that communicates quality and confidence. Fourth, well-executed pull and push program helps consumers understand the advantages of the branded ingredient. And fifth, consumer advertising, promotion, collaboration with manufacturers, retail merchandising can be planned with the help of channel members. Moving on to self-branded ingredients, wherein companies create their own ingredients. Self-branded ingredients are only available with one brand. These companies advertise and even trademark the ingredient brand as it is their creation. Let's look at some examples. The first example of Audi's Quattro. Quattro is the ingredient brand used by the automobile brand Audi. It is used to show all-wheel drive technologies which are used on the specific model of Audi automobiles. The word Quattro means the digit 4 in Italian and is a registered trademark of the brand Audi, which is a branch of the German automotive company Volkswagen Group. The next example is Mercedes AMG. AMG is developed and offered by Mercedes-Benz. It proves to have more power, better performance, and more features than a vehicle which is not AMG. Nearly every modern Mercedes-Benz vehicle has an AMG engine. Moving on to another example of Intel. Intel Inside campaign is the best example of an ingredient brand that was launched in 1991. Intel's end user did not purchase a chip but ended buying a personal computer. Therefore, Intel ran a campaign declaring it had been the core ingredient of personal computers which was responsible for the speed and performance of the PC. It made sure that it did not show exclusive arrangements with any single PC manufacturer. Still, it became an ingredient product for all IBMs, HPs and Compaqs. Due to this, the chip got more attention than the PCs. This campaign resulted in a 12-fold increase in revenue for the company. It made the microprocessor brand a key decision maker. Now let's look at the presence of ingredient branding across sectors, starting with the automobile segment. Luxury automakers have used high-end audio brands to intensify their vehicle's appeal. Starting with Mercedes Maybach S650. Burmester's incredible 3D sound system uses 27 high-performance loudspeakers and 24 discrete amplifier channels inside the cabin. The total output of Maybach's sound system is 1590 watts, which makes it more potent than most high-quality home theater systems. Next, Volvo. The full-size SUV Volvo XC90 features an audio system that was explicitly developed by Bowers & Wilkins in partnership with audio technology company Direct Research. The system uses 90 speakers to deliver a total of 1400 watts of output. And finally, the Lexus. The Lexus LS500 luxury sedan brings the Mark Levinson reference audio system by Harman to the equipment list. The audio system on the LS500 was exclusively designed for the model. Now looking at the presence of ingredient branding in the smartphone segment. Nokia became the world's most sold cell phone brand by 2004. It did not have the best camera while Sony Ericsson did. So Nokia, in association with Zeiss, manufacturer of optical systems, developed a lens for better camera quality for its cell phone. The product N90 was a result of this association that was launched in April 2005 with a 2-megapixel camera by Zeiss. Further, the partnership produced a series of phones and had a steady hold over the consumer market, including the Nokia N95 with a 5-megapixel camera back then. The milestone of Nokia and Zeiss partnership was the launch of Nokia 808 PureView in 2012. The highlight was the name of the phone, which was solely based on the imaging quality of the phone camera. Zeiss also entered into collaborations and licensing agreements with other companies like the Hasselblad, Rollei, Yashica, Sony, Logitech and Alpha. And finally, the presence of ingredient branding in the airline segment. Emirates Airlines, to be precise, refreshed its premium offering with new luxury products in the first and business class for more comfortable travel experience in 2018, which includes first, Byredo. First-class customers got the Byredo Travel Wellness range of skincare in their private suites. The allergen-free
and chamomile collections were exclusively created for Emirates passengers for a relaxing and hydrating in-flight experience. Next, Bower & Wilkins Active Noise Cancelling E1 headphones. These headphones were specially designed using a unique hybrid noise cancellation technology optimized for Emirates first-class cabins. Light in weight and made of the finest materials, the headphones include aluminium and sheepskin leather for a comfortable fit. And finally, Bulgari, new series of amenity kits for Bulgari's fragrance. It also contains skincare essentials to keep the customer.
So that's it, folks. This is an end to the topic on brand management. Do subscribe to our channel where you'll witness such videos daily. Thank you and stay tuned for our next videos.